Okay, everybody, I'm very pleased today that we have Olympic gold medalist Maarten van der Weijden from the Netherlands here with us today, chatting about his swimming and a little bit about what he's doing in the coming months and years with his own swimming preparations. Great to have you here, Maarten, and you're looking, as I mentioned when we first started chatting, you're looking very fit. Tell us what you've been up to.
Thank you. Well, I've been swimming a little bit more than the decade between the Olympic gold almost and now. So I didn't swim for 7 or 8 years almost. And started again swimming a bit at the beginning of last year, 2016. And actually I quite enjoyed. And it's not anymore about speed, because so many years older, not even close to the swimming speed I did when I was training to become Olympic champion. But it's fun to go the endurance part. It's fun to do that, but it's even more fun to do that for raising funds for cancer research.
Absolutely. And tell us a little bit about your background with leukemia then. It was 2001, wasn't it, when you were diagnosed? Is that correct?
Yeah, I was diagnosed leukemia in 2001. I think it took me 3 years before I was swimming times and swimming speed I did before the diagnosis of leukemia. But year for year, step for step, I was able to increase my speed. And that ended up in winning Olympic gold in 2008.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. I was there, well, I wasn't actually in Beijing watching it, but we were watching it online and plugging for our Welshman, David Davies, who obviously finished fine second to you. But tell us a little bit about that race, if you wouldn't mind, because we know David very well, and we've actually had him online here through swimsmooth.com as well. And obviously it was a bit of a heartbreaking moment when he finished second for him, at least, but he had a fantastic swim. And I was just listening to one of your YouTube interviews earlier on where you discussed about the importance that of energy conservation in that particular swim. You knew you weren't the fastest in the race, but you had a plan, right?
Well, it was absolutely clear that David Davies was the fastest swimmer, but the open water swimming is not only about who's the fastest, but it's a whole strategic game. So I knew he was a faster swimmer than I was, so my only chance of beating David Davies was by using lots of slipstream methods. So I was swimming easy at the back of the pack for almost the entire race.
Wow.
And that let me spare my energy in the most ideal way, and made me able to be a little bit quicker at the last 100 and 200 meters.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I was looking back at some of the footage, and I believe you only took the lead with about 40 seconds to go. So, it was obviously huge patience to get to that point in a 2-hour race, and then come through right in the last minute, basically, to take the win from Davies and Thomas Lewis as well, of course, from Germany.
Yeah, and I knew that was my only shot of winning. So there was no other way of me winning. My chances were not very big. Australian bookmakers, they had me on 1-40.
No, really? I missed out on that one.
But also small chances can come true.
Absolutely. And so, talk us through the day. You were very confident leading into the swim, or you knew you had your plan all set and this is what you were going to do. But did you have much of a warm up before the particular event, or were you allowed to?
No warm up. I was just totally relaxed, I think. Confidence. I'm not sure if that was the right wording for it. I knew how my chances were. I knew where my strength and my weaknesses were. And the only thing I had to do that day was follow my plan, and
Absolutely.
Then just wait and see. And it could have ended up with finishing place 14, so place 7th.
Yep.
But I really enjoyed my road to that Olympic final. So for me, it would be all good. And it went all following the right plan. And at the end, at the last part with David Davies and Thomas Lutz, I knew both of them were very, very good swimmers, faster than I was. And the last 150 meters, Thomas Lutz, he chose to go to the other side of the course.
Yeah.
David Davies was following him, and all of a sudden there was 100 meters left, and I just noticed that my road to the finish line was just shorter.
Yeah,
so
wow.
that was my shot.
Absolutely, and it is quite a distinct, it was quite a distinctly different line that you took from the footage. You know, you guys separated very, very quickly to a distance width-wise of maybe 10 or 12 meters wide of each other at that point.
My way was just shorter, and the other advantage I had was that David Davis and Thomas Lutz were swimming together. They were struggling and fighting.
Yes.
And that made them swim a little bit slower as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, did you do much practice with drafting in the open water? Obviously, it was your plan to do that, but how much training, practice in training did you do on the drafting skills that you talk about?
No, not really in training. I think I've done open water competition since 1999. So I did lots of them, and doing lots of them, you get used to the slipstream. You know your competitors. You know how they swim, what their strategy is, and race by race, you get more familiar to that, and then. Slipstream is not that hard. The hardest thing to do is when you are going from the back of the pack to the front.
Yeah, sure.
And I did that in the third lap out of the 4. And the hard thing is to notice another fast swimmer going to the front of the group as well, and then you can just slipstream behind that person.
Absolutely, absolutely. And how did your stroke help you in the Olympic Games? Would you say how was your stroke technique? Was that something you'd worked a lot on and refined over the years? I remember a really nice bird's eye view looking down at your stroke, and it looked perfectly in perfect alignment. No crossing over, very, very straightforward sort of thing, and it looked very, very nice from where I was looking.
Yeah, well, I think the technique part with swimming in the same swimming pool where Piet van der Hogeband, for instance, had his preparation.
Yes. For
the 100 meter freestyle. We have fantastic facilities in that swimming pool with all cameras. So we took lots of training into that.
Yes.
And I think also because I knew I was not the fastest swimmer, I knew I needed that strategic plan. So looking in front of me and going into my stroke and looking forward to where the other swimmers were, because of my length, I'm 6'9". It's more easy for me to look forward because my stroke is just a little bit longer.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Now, you've set up a little bit of a legacy, really, with the Olympic Games in the 10K. Correct me if I'm wrong now, but the Netherlands holds 3 of the last 6 Olympic gold medals in the open water 10K, with obviously in Beijing, Ferry Wertman and Sharon von Roendel, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
And there are only 6 Olympic gold in the open water because in Beijing it was the first time. So there are 6 open water gold medals in the open water swimming, and you're absolutely right. So 3 of them are from the Netherlands.
Wow, that must make you very proud.
Very proud of that. Yeah. Yeah, and also my coach, Marcel Wouda, who's Ferry's coach as well. Yeah, he played a huge role in that one. And I think as the Netherlands, we are a very good swimming country.
Absolutely.
And then if you focus on the open water, and if you have, with Marcel Wouda, if you have the knowledge how to win Olympic gold, hey, then it's capable of winning 3 out of 6.
Absolutely,
as a country.
Yeah, totally. I was very lucky in my youth. We our local swimming club actually partnered with Weijden swimming club in the Netherlands. So every October we'd come across and actually swim in the Netherlands, and it was a great experience in my younger years. Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. So just tell me your thoughts about, obviously then we had the London Olympic Games in the Serpentine for the 10K. Were you there? Were you present at that one?
Yes, I was visiting. I was not swimming. I retired a couple of months after my Olympic gold in Beijing. Also knew that because I was not the fastest swimmer, my chances in London would be very small again, even smaller because I hate swimming in cold water. Yeah. And we all knew that London, the expectations were that the water would be quite cold. And I was doing all kind of weird things in my preparation with sleeping in an altitude tent, using light therapy. What was fun to do for 1 year, but I knew it would not be healthy to hold that for new 4 years.
Sure.
So we retired quite soon after. I was actually expecting David Davies to have a good another 4 years and then to win gold in London. What I really hoped him to do, but I think he did not manage to qualify, right?
No, that's correct. Yeah, we had a bit of a chat about that when he came along to one of the triathlon shows in the UK, and he mentioned that, you know, in pursuit of trying to go from the Olympic silver to hopefully the Olympic gold, he mentioned talking about how he tried to change his stroke and adapt, but it didn't seem to work too well for him, unfortunately. And like you correctly say, he didn't qualify, unfortunately, which was a big shame. And you guys became pretty good friends then, presumably around the Olympics in Beijing.
Well, to be there in the Olympic final together, it bonds. So it's I'm very interested in how he's doing right now.
Absolutely.
But it's not that we are talking often or something. It's quite interesting that, because I was diagnosed leukemia 7 years before, and that story that having had leukemia and then win Olympic gold is quite a personal story, and in my country it's quite famous.
Sure.
But I also remember, for instance, I think everyone has a personal story and has a personal ambition why he wants to win Olympic gold. So looking back at that Olympic final, and you were talking about David Davies being the fastest swimmer and not win the Olympic gold, and hoping to win the gold in London, in his own country, would have been an amazing story. That did not work out. But also Thomas Lutz, who finished third in Beijing, he lost his father, that was his coach as well, a couple of months before Beijing. And he was very motivated to get that Olympic gold to Germany as almost a gift to his father. He did not succeed in doing that. He won bronze. He succeeded in winning silver in London.
Yes.
And I can remember, if you talk about the London race, I saw Thomas Lutz coming from his race, saying, "Well, you got bronze in Beijing, you got silver in London. Well, maybe you will go for gold in Rio." So he was laughing at that one. But I think everybody with that extreme ambition to win Olympic gold must have some personal personal motivation to work that hard.
Absolutely.
To manage that.
And when you were undergoing treatment for leukemia in 2001, did you have any inkling, any idea at all that you might eventually be stood on the top of the podium at the world's largest swimming event for Olympic gold medal?
I was actually no, and actually I was not interested in that at all.
Right.
I was looking back at my life and looking at all the effort I put in swimming fast, and hey, the value of sports when you were in the hospital treated by chemotherapy. Sport is not that interesting. No. And working very hard for your athletic goal, it's not very relevant. So in hospital, I promised myself, if I have the luck to recover, I will not spend my life anymore trying to achieve goals and trying to try to go for my personal best in swimming. But when I was kicked out of the hospital after half a year of treatment.
Wow.
I was dedicated to live every day like it's my last day.
Yes.
I did that for 3 days, and then I noticed that every day ended up of being the same.
Wow.
And that's quite boring. So then I realized that setting goals and trying to achieve goals is really almost for me the essence of life.
Yeah.
And then I decided to really go for swimming again. But it was the first time in my life that I was setting that goal for myself. It was not my parents putting me on a swimming club when I was 8 years old. It was me making the decision myself that I wanted to realize the best I could in swimming. And to make that decision yourself is a lot stronger than you are just started swimming and you're winning some gold medals and you keep swimming and you continue doing so.
Yeah, definitely. And so now looking forwards, obviously you mentioned Davy Davies there and how you struck up a little bit of a friendship, and you online you asked me, you know, do you have a contact with David? And next year you're doing a 200-kilometer swim, is that correct?
Well, the biggest athletic event in the Netherlands, it's not the Olympic Games. Maybe it's not even the World Cup Soccer.
Wow,
I think
really?
I think the biggest athletic event is the Elfsteden speed skating, which is a 200-kilometer speed skating event in the north of the Netherlands. Only the bad thing is that the last time it's held is in 1996.
Oh, wow.
And because of global warming, there's no ice anymore. That just fits the total venue of 200 kilometers. But every year in January and February, Dutch people only want one thing, and that's that the Elfsteden tocht will take place.
Wow.
But we are waiting for that for a long time now.
Yeah.
So that made me decide, if speed skating is not possible because there's no ice, well, I think I need to swim that Elfsteden tocht.
Wow.
And swimming the Elfsteden tocht, 200 kilometers, it will take me almost 3 days of non-stop swimming.
Wow.
And it's not about me showing that I can swim for 3 days, but it's about trying to engage as much swimmers as I possibly can, and we want in all those 11 cities what I will cross doing my 200 kilometers. I want as much swimmers to join me for 500 meters, for 2,000 meters, and with that event,
that'll be huge, Maarten.
We want to raise as much money as possible for cancer research. Because, hey, I had the luck to recover in 2001, but I speak to patients almost on a weekly basis, and they tell me that they feel connected to me because they have been diagnosed cancer as well. But the difference is that a lot of times I hear that they will not have the luck to recover because they do not have a treatment that will help them.
Sure.
And the only thing I can do, and I feel so lucky that there was a treatment for me. I feel so lucky that after that I could just re-enter my life and eventually even win Olympic gold. I feel so lucky that I have two beautiful daughters now.
Oh, brilliant.
But it really hurts me to talk to those patients and they tell me, well, but we are not lucky. We are diagnosed cancer and we will not survive. And the only thing, so I feel so grateful. And the only thing I can do is with the strengths I have, with the talents I have, well, swimming a bit. And I will organize a swimming event where I will swim for 3 days non-stop.
Wow.
But where I hope lots and lots of swimmers will join me for that 500 or 2,000 meters. So we can raise lots of funds for cancer research, and that hopefully will end up with more patients being lucky to survive after being diagnosed cancer.
That's great. And those specific charities that you'll be raising money for?
Well, in the Netherlands we have a very big Dutch Cancer Foundation, and they are very good in pointing out where every euro will have the most impact. So they will help me selecting. So they will help me qualify what kind of studies and cancer research will have the most impact. and then I will ask the patient itself with the patient organization. I will ask what they think and what they think is spent the most wise way of that money we will raise funds for.
Great, that's fantastic. So you're looking for people to join you for this this fantastic swim. I
Absolutely.
I had the privilege a few years ago, just before I swam the English Channel myself, to swim down the Thames in the UK with there's a British comedian called David Walliams, and he swam the length of the Thames in about 8 or 9 days. But I dare say you're going to be swimming this quite a bit faster than David managed to do on his particular swim. All credit to him, of course, though. And what temperature do you expect the water to be?
I'm not sure. I expect it to be between 17 to 20 degrees Celsius. 17 degrees can be quite cold for me. I was doing the English Channel up and down this summer. I was wearing a wetsuit, and I really need that one. And even then, 17 degrees water is very cold.
Yes, yeah.
I started in Dover at 3 o'clock at nighttime.
Yep.
And I wanted to go up and down. So I knew it would take around 20 hours. And after half an hour of swimming, I was so cold and I hated it. But then I did it for another half an hour. I did it for another hour, and then the sun came up, and then it got a little bit warmer, and then it was okay. But for me, this 17 degrees water is still quite cold. And the longer you swim, and I expect so the worst part of the swimming event, the 200 kilometers, will be the second night, I think. And I'm absolutely sure that I will be really cold. But hey, sometimes in life hard things happen.
Yeah. And
the only thing you can do is prepare yourself the best you can and see what happens.
Absolutely, absolutely. And do you like the night swimming? I got away with it on my channel swim. I went from 8 o'clock in the morning till in the afternoon, so I didn't have to go through the night. But how do you like that experience?
I really enjoy, but I hate the cold.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy. I was swimming. Another swim I did this summer was that I was swimming from Amsterdam to Rotterdam, but eventually took me 23 hours.
Wow.
But the huge thing was that when it was getting dark, you see the lights at houses go off. You see people go to bed, but the next morning you see people wake up and you see people have a coffee in their garden, and then all of a sudden they see a mad swimmer, me swim very close to their garden, and then they look very surprised. And it happened that they took their bicycle, because we love to ride our bicycle in the Netherlands, and they were just following me. And It was amazing to see that it surprised people, and therefore it inspired people a bit. And I really enjoy doing so. And at nighttime, when it becomes really quiet, it's just you, and you see the lights in the boats. I was crossing a very small village, and they knew that I would cross their village, and they prepared themselves, and they were all firefighters cars at the back at next to the lake I was swimming, and they were just making a party in their small village because I was crossing by, and it was amazing.
Wow, that's fantastic. And so when you do this particular swim, obviously I think that's one of my favourite movies is the movie Forrest Gump. It sounds a little bit like you're hoping for people to join you in that sense, where Forrest was running. You've seen the movie, presumably, where he's running down the road,
of course,
and everyone joins him and runs along.
It's one of my favourite movies.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And for me, it's the thing that I really enjoy, that he just liked running, and he was just starting, and he just kept on running because he enjoyed doing so.
And what do you think about, Maarten, when you're out there for 4 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours a day? What goes through your head when you're swimming?
I enjoy. I'm not sure if I enjoy swimming as much, but it's more doing the same physical exercise over and over again, lap by lap.
Yeah. And you certainly did that this summer with the 24-hour. We were talking about the 24-hour swimming, the 25-meter pool, and
and it's life can be so rushful, and there are all deadlines, and we go from this deadline to the next deadline, and it's all very rushful. And when I'm swimming, it's just swimming, and it's just about my left arm and my right arm and my left arm and one lap and a lap back, and it's so relaxing, and it gives a little bit of peace.
Yeah.
And with being in peace in the swimming pool or outside, combined with setting goals and trying to achieve those goals, for instance, trying to get that record with the world record 24 hours non-stop swimming in the swimming pool, I really enjoy.
Wow, yeah, that's absolutely incredible. Did you get any cramping or anything like that with the constant pushing off and turning and pushing off the walls?
Nothing at all.
No,
I was expected that I would have some trouble. I was using some magnesium thing, and I think I used them last 12 hours every 6 hours.
Yeah.
I did not feel any cramp at all.
Wow.
Nothing.
That's great. That is great. Fantastic. Well, we won't take up too much more of your time, but I just wonder if you could maybe just tell us, do you have a favourite swimming set that you would sort of prescribe for somebody doing, any distance in the open water from maybe 1.5 kilometres upwards, so people considering a longer distance swim? Do you have a favourite workout?
Yeah.
One that's manageable by mere mortals?
And for in the swimming pool workout?
Yeah, potentially in the pool, yeah.
Pool. Well, what I really enjoy is playing a little bit with swimming speed as well. So maybe if you do just the easy warming up with 500, 600 meters, and then a small set with 400 meters, 20 seconds rest, 300 meters, 20 seconds rest, 200 meters, 20 seconds rest, 100 meters. And you start at 400 meters, not very fast, but a little bit faster than your relaxing endurance speed. And every distance you do next, so 300 meters is a bit faster, 200 meters is a bit faster, and 100 meters is a bit faster. To train your speed a bit, and then another 400, 500 meters cooling down.
Yep.
I think that's a nice workout then.
Yeah, and you mentioned you'd just been in for a very short swim this morning with your words, but to most people that
2 hours.
2 hours, yeah. To most people that horrify them. And tomorrow you're doing a 50k swim, correct, in the pool?
I'm doing a 50k swim, doing the Swim Cup in Amsterdam, which is held this weekend. So I will start at 7:30 tomorrow afternoon. And hopefully I will finish my 50k 12 hours from that moment.
Wow, that's incredible! Absolutely. Well, we wish you the very best of luck for that. And finally, we in Beijing, obviously there was a lot of media attention both here in Australia and over in the UK regarding your win. You mentioned about shaving the head for the swim in Beijing. What was the idea behind that? Because I think the media picked up on that and suggesting, well, Maarten is a survivor of leukemia, and many people were thinking that, but that's not actually the case, is it?
Lots of people thought that leukemia, chemotherapy. Oh, he's bald, so that's quite a logic story.
Sure.
Well, I'm quite bald again, but I had some hair a couple of years ago. The reason why I was bald in Beijing because the water temperature was very hot. It was 32 degrees Celsius. And the FINA, the Swimming Federation, they asked as well, maybe you can all wear a swimming cap, because then it's easier to follow for the television view. We did not really like that swimming cap because the swimming cap would hold the heat.
Yes.
And we really want to get rid of the heat. The Swimming Federation was not able to obligate the swimming cap, but they were able to obligate that you where that you should have your land coat on your head.
Yes, okay.
Well, and everybody would wear a swim cap, they thought. And they were not thinking about that you could just shave your head and write your land coat on your head. So that was the reason I was totally bald.
Yeah, that's great. Well, what a great story. Well, thank you ever so much for your time. It's been an absolute privilege talking to you. I've been one of your fans for a long, long time, and will continue to do so. And you know, if we ever get over to the Netherlands, it'd be great to maybe hook up for a swim and maybe try and draft in your wake. And
awesome. And if you or any other viewers are interested in joining me with a part of the Elfstede Zwemtocht, please visit Maarten van der Weijden Foundation.nl.
Excellent. We'll pop that in the link for the video and get people to come and join up and support you with that, Maarten.
Awesome. Cool.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, man.
Have a great evening.
Very welcome.
Thanks.
You too. You
Bye
too.
now.
Cheers. Bye.